Hey guys, welcome back to Rack and Roll Rugby. And yes, they have done the announcement, and we've got an interesting lineup for both teams, the All Blacks and the Wallabies. And in this video, we're going to quickly be discussing the two teams. So yeah, let's jump right into it and discuss it. So guys, there you can see, from an All Blacks perspective, the Groot seemed to be, or the Groot, as you know, most Kiwis would say it. Got to respect that. The man I'm sure he calls his surname the Groot. Yeah, Afrikaans way would be the Groot. But the Groot, Taylor and Lomax, front pack, they kind of look familiar, playing quite often with those three. And then Retallick and Barrett. Yeah, I think Foster, for the most part, starting to kind of trying to establish his team. He's five there in the front. He's trying to start establishing, a base of the main guys you want to be using at the World Cup. It's nice to see. I think him, putting Scott Barrett in again after having a really, really good game last week. And kind of not immediately putting Whitelock in and playing Whitelock from the bench, I think is very fair of him. And the decision there to not play him straight away. Interesting, Lomax starting at 3. You got some big guns there on the bench in the likes of Lulala and Tungafasi. But yeah, nevertheless, it's a really good front five. But where I get excited is when we get to 6, 7 and 8. Your loose trio there is just, man, that is a fire loose trio. I like the sound of Frizzell, Papali and Savia. And I mean, these three guys they all such good players right now. And I know Frizzell's in huge form at the moment. He's had great few games. Savia's class, and I'm sure Papali will just step right back in. And I like the fact also that they're bringing Savia in, as the captain. I think for me personally, I like the fact that they rather play him as I would want to see him be the captain more often rather than Dane Cole, Sam Cane or even Whitelock. The only reason why I'm saying this is with the older guys, you don't know how many games they'll play in the World Cup. You don't know how often they'll get injured. Someone like a Savia should start most games. On 8, I don't see many other guys as good as him on 8. So he might play most games, which means he might be such a good idea for captain. I like the idea of him there. Aaron Smith and Richie Mo'unga Foster sticking to his guns, building his base. A really good combination. Those two guys find each other well. No issues there, I think. Foster not experimenting with Mackenzie or anything, just sticking to his team. To similar decisions when it comes to his positions and his combinations. Then looking at the center pair, Jordie Barrett still number 12. You can see clearly wants to play Jordie there as a first choice with a Rico Ioane, which you can't fault. The nice thing about a Jordie is he can still kick. He's got all the skills of a fullback. He is a fullback really, and just hats off to the All Blacks team selection team. Working Jordie into that position and trying him into that position, then creating the opportunity for them to play. All three guys, they've always had issues all fielding on the team. And that's Mo'unga, Jordie Barrett and Beauden Barrett. Where now they can play both brothers and Mo'unga because there's space for all of them. And it's almost like each one's finding their space now and kind of accepting that. For a long time, I think a Jordie Barrett felt he's a fullback. I think a Beauden Barrett thought he's a fly-off. But now we're kind of starting to see everyone's getting used to the idea of a Mo'unga at 10. Jordie Barrett at 12. Barrett starting to enjoy that position a lot. And then Beauden Barrett getting into his own on that fullback position. But Beauden not playing the general of the usual number 15. Very involved. Often playing first receiver out of the scrums and the loose rucks. Great at getting those kicks in. And just really a weapon, in just the way that he involves himself in the game. A lot more than I see many other 15s do. And yeah, that creates opportunity. And then of course Mark Telea, you know, he's good, but I mean there's a lot of competition for him. Not that I have an issue with that call. He's good for that. And then Will Jordan you can't keep out. He's such a good player. But what you can see clearly from Foster is he's trying to build a good base team. He did not experiment at all and try and be brave on this game. He wants the silverware, it's clear. Then looking at that bench, Samisoni Tekiao, yeah, man, I've said enough on my reaction video that I've done. Check it out on my channel. This guy, the carries he does and just the impact he has on the field, I sometimes ask, he's similar for me to, a Malcolm Marx. I sometimes ask if these hookers shouldn't be starting because you give him only 20 minutes to make an impact versus 60 minutes, you know. It's just a big difference, and I sometimes ask that, but I mean, he's still used as the impact player, and what an impact player to have. Tungafasi and Lulala, great, they've been around for a while, and they'll have an impact there in the front pack when they come on. Whitelock, great to have him in the mix, you know, he's that type of guy which has got loads of experience, lineouts, all of that stuff. I think he'll have no issues just slotting right back in. Same for Luke Jacobson. He'll have his influence coming on second half there in the trio. But then the big talk is around Cam Roigard getting his run. The Hurricanes player getting his first run, you know, in the All Blacks 10. And yeah, that's going to be interesting. I like the fact that Foster doesn't play him straight away. He plays him second half, bringing him on for the last 20. Just give him opportunity to first get a feel for it, you know, so that he can just make sure that at the start, you know, Muhanga absorbs the pressure and then give him the chance later. Anton Leonard-Brown, loads of experience. Not been, for me, the best since he's been back from injury. And he battled to lift those two, but it's not that like he has to lift Jordy or Iohane out of the team. You need more options. So it's good to have him there also. And then Caleb Clark, people have mixed reviews on Caleb Clark. But the boy is big and he's fast. And he's still a guy to consider, I reckon. So yeah, it will also be interesting to see when he comes on what happens. I think for Foster, for most of it, what I see here, he's gone with a solid team, trying to really build his foundations. And I think that first 15, most of those guys are now established as the first option, you know, players to take to the World Cup. What I find interesting is that he didn't maybe put a McKenzie on the bench. Yeah, a few interesting decisions, but that was one that stood out to me. That a McKenzie's not somewhere in the mix, I would have thought maybe. Anyway, then going to Australia. Now, you know, Angus Bell experience, but there's definitely a lack of experience there in the front pack. Alatoa's got some experience, but a lot of the other guys still new in the team. As you can see, there were not that many tests. Captain Fantastic's not there. So we see Alatoa being acting captain. I don't know if you want a 3 to be your captain, but hey, he's going to be the captain for the game. Valentini has got decent experience also on 8, but a fairly inexperienced front back for me. And then also interesting that Eddie Jones decided to go for Tate McDermott, which is pretty inexperienced still. A decent amount of games, but I mean, always comes up second half, kind of like impact for Nick White. We know what Nick White's experience brings. And then playing Carter Gordon, which has only had 2 tests from the Rebels, the man with the mallet, straight away from the start, which again, to me, I understand Eddie's trying to experiment, but this is a rather big game. And yeah, I think Eddie just said, hey, balls to the wall. I'm trying everything. I'm sticking all these new guys in here and let's see what happens. I don't think against the All Blacks it's a very good decision to make, but I just think someone like a Carter Gordon, if he brought him up second half, and you know, it would have been a better option for him, you know, putting that young guy under this type of pressure. If you think of that, you know, trio of Sevilla, Fazal and Papa Lee, if they really put pressure on Gordon, you know, the All Blacks could punish them, and within the first 20 to 30 minutes they could have 15 to 20 on the board, with just mistakes, forced mistakes. So I don't know about Gordon. I don't know if it's a good idea. But hey, at least you got Quade Cooper on the bench. I would have just said rather put Quade Cooper on the field, let him absorb the pressure, get to that first half, just so you can feel out and get yourself into the game. Then bring on the inexperienced guys. I would have played a Nick White again, with a Cooper rather. But he's gone the other way, which I don't know if I agree with that. The rest I pretty much agree with. It's a good side. Otherwise, Kurabete on wing, you can't go wrong there. That guy's so dangerous, big, influential every game. Same with a Karevi and a Pataya on the two centres. The guys have proven over and over that they're the best combo there for the centre. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce number 14, Wase. I never get this right, but I'm sure someone will correct me. He's also seemed decent. And then Andrew Kellaway. Andrew Kellaway has played wing, and they're now trying him on 15. So that'll also be interesting to see how he goes. Then looking at this bench, there's some experience there coming from the bench. You got Slipper coming in, very experienced. And then Tanila Topu is another guy who I really like a lot. He always has such an impact when the guy comes on. Also a big carrier, reminds me of a Tungafasi. Just big impact on the game. So he'll be good off the bench. Rob Leota's there. Nick White with loads of experience, and Quade Cooper coming from the bench. So it'll be interesting to see when those two guys come in as impact players, if they make more of a impact on the game. I might be wearing yellow today, but do I think that this Australian team could beat the All Blacks? I don't know. I think there's some pivotal mistakes that Eddie Jones are making here. One of those pivotal mistakes is putting very inexperienced, 9 and 10 on the field. And with the dangerous loose trio from the All Blacks, I just don't know under pressure if he's going to cope. The two of them will cope. The other thing is, I just feel front pack, the All Blacks have been so good against the Springboks, cleaning out in the loose rucks. Just they've been so effective and good. If you see how well they did against Argentina compared to how Australia lost or struggled against Argentina, I've got a feeling that the All Blacks are just going to shut them down in front, clean out ball, kind of similar to what happened to the Springboks, then starve them of possession. I do not see it being the usual Bedisloe Cup type of game where it's running both sides and it's very open, where it's not as much focused on cleaning ball in the front. I think it's going to be a bit more of a battle up front. I just don't think Australia will come out top when I'm looking at the team. But they're playing at home. Anything could happen. You know how it is when it's at home. I just think really Eddie's putting himself at a disadvantage, in my opinion, putting Nick White and Quade Cooper on the bench. I would really not have advised that out of all these decisions. I personally feel give the All Blacks, and I think I'm being modest, but I'll go 15 points win in this game. Just because Australia is playing at home, and I think they will play their hearts out. I just don't think they have enough in the tank in this team to beat the All Blacks in the current form they're in. Nevertheless, we will see Saturday. Guys, if you watch my videos, you enjoy my videos, and you're not subscribed, which most people are, I always have to do this call to action. I know a lot of people get annoyed maybe with me saying this at the end and maybe click off. But please, that red button down there, just hit it. Become a subscriber and do me that solid. And I'll catch you in the next one. See you. Thanks. Bye.